The success of your development of Mettā actually finally depending on one thing, that you can able to radiate Mettā to your most hated person in your life and enter jhana with it. Yeah. Exactly. This is exactly where we cannot do. That's why it's called a barrier. That's why this is coming to this type of tonight's Dhamma talk is something like that. Because we cannot able to develop that Mettā to everybody. Because when we look at the most hated person that in our life, the anger automatically arises. And that most hated person, or it may be her, maybe him, or maybe them, then whenever you think of them, then this whole anger arises. And so difficult for you to meditate. You can't even settle the mind down. So that's why I said, to know that whether you are successful in this Mettā, or in the future that you develop this Mettā, that you can able to radiate to all beings, and most probably, and most of all, to the most hated one, and use that one to enter the jhana. So, we'll see how we can do that for tonight. Or at least on the way there, at least we can go on towards it. Yeah? I don't think you're going to be able to do it within a week or two, but I think that is over time, you may change. For example, as I said sometime in the talks back, to me, the Mettā, whether the Mettā to the most hated person or to the most lovable person or the most respected person, finally they are all the same. That you can able to enter Mettā, whichever group that you are taking, that you can able to enter jhana with it. Now the Buddha, in a simile, there's a simile, there was a, where is it? In the Visuddhimagga, that's right. In the Visuddhimagga, in the Mettā also, under the Mettā, it gives a simile about this. There's a bandit, and there's a group of bandit. No, there's a group of bandit captured 4 persons. One is you, yourself. One is your dearly loved ones. One is a neutral person, that means it's neutral to you. And one is your most hated one. 4 of you has been captured by the bandit, by those bandits. And the bandits come to and said this. He said that if you all want to live, you must give me 1 person to be killed. Then all of you can go. What do you think that we will do? Usually in the worldly sense, we'll give them to the most hated person. Or after that, we give them to the one that we do not know. Or if you are also go by the worldly standard, and you thought that this is high, then you said, I'm offering myself. And then all of them can go. You want to be the hero, for example. And that too, when it says that when you development of the Mettā, finally you cannot choose. You do not know which one to choose. Because the Mettā for yourself and for the most hated person is equally the same. For you, for yourself and your dearly loved ones or the neutral person, so all 4 of them, finally they are all the same. So it is impossible for you to choose. So the Mettā, when you develop it, Because in the beginning, when we develop the metta, we says that these people you should not radiate your metta, like your dearly loved ones and the most hated one, and your who else? So this number of them, this a group of them that initially you're not supposed to develop it, but that was development, the initial development. But in the subsequent development, in the further, later on, perhaps you should try, because you have developed some degree of metta. Try lah, next time, next sitting, you sit down there, you're going to recall your most hated person, see what happens. See, the mind is burning or the metta comes out. That'll be interesting, isn't it? That'll be, sometimes you may think that you're still burning inside there because of whatever or he or she has done to you. Yeah? But later, if you keep trying and you keep on developing metta and also all the Brahma Viharas too, later part you'll see that when you do that hate, that anger is beginning to reduce. You know it's still there, but it reduces. Until maybe one day you can able truly radiate metta to that particular person. Perhaps not jhana, but you can still able to radiate the person as much as you can radiate to your most respected ones. So that will be interesting. So this is what we call breaking the barrier of metta, because that metta is still has a barrier there. Earlier on, my topic, I forgot. I kind of like misplaced it. I put that the breaking the barrier of anger. So you break the barrier of anger, everything will come. No. It's breaking the barrier of metta. Luckily, I kind of like edit the whole post again. But anyway, so this is what we're going to look into it. Now, one of the biggest barrier of our development of this metta is, is this anger of ours or ill will of ours, which is what the Buddha called the far enemy. The far enemy, because they are completely the opposite of metta. And that one, although we think that most of the time we may not have it, but there will be certain time this anger may pop up or blow the top. And we can get very angry. So we have to look into it too. So because we are in the topic of metta, in the metta bhavana, so this topic also is important because we need to go further. So let's say there are occasions that you get angry, and some of us we prone to anger a lot, and some of us not so much. Not so much, which is good in a way, which is good. But you may be prone to others, perhaps the more sensual desire. Your anger, in a way, not so much as your sensual desire. Whereas for some people, the anger and the sensual desire are also equally strong. The Buddha says that between this sensual desire, ill will or hatred, and also delusion, greed, hatred, delusion, the Buddha mentioned that this sensual desire, it's socially acceptable. They are more acceptable in a way that socially more acceptable. Whereas the anger is not socially acceptable. Okay? Socially acceptable, that means that when that's connected with lust or connected with sensual desire, most of us can able to accept it. For example, when we talk about marriage, We talk about marriage. It is connected with sensual desire and lust. Socially accepted. Let's talk about now, since places can open, then you start thinking about where to go and eat. Where should I go and dine? Although you are still cautious whether to go out or not, but you already start planning already where to go because you miss all your hawker's food or whichever it is. So with that, you discuss it with all your family members. Now, sensual desire, but socially acceptable. So a lot of things that are in the connected with sensual desire, they are acceptable by the public, by the people. Anger, whereas anger and hatred, it is not socially acceptable because just when you are angry, people move away from you. When you're very fierce, when you are very your words are very strong, people stay away from you. Or at that time when you are in the fits of anger, people stay away from you. People don't want to go near you. So it's not in the sense of socially acceptable. People condemn you, people will say things about you. So this is not socially acceptable. But the Buddha also mentioned that sensual desire, it is difficult to overcome. Whereas anger or ill will, it's easier to overcome. Why is it that it's easier to overcome for anger and not with ill will? Not with sensual desire. Because anger comes with mental suffering, mental unpleasant feelings. So when the body and mind is having unpleasant feeling, that person also wants to be away from that feeling too. Because over time, it really burns inside the person. So they want to be away from that also. But because they cannot not yet, and the anger prolongs for a while, Whereas when the sensual desire, it comes with pleasant feelings. It comes with joy. And that joy, that pleasant feelings, it masks all these sensual pleasures and sensual desires. It masks them. It covers them. So the joy is on the top. So the joy on the top, so we look at it that everybody is happy. So happy, that is where everything is being covered. But whereas delusion, the delusion is socially not acceptable and also difficult to remove, difficult to overcome. Here, delusion is like, for example, is the foolishness. Sometimes foolishness is also connected with a lot of views, a lot of distorted views that they hold on to it. They hold on to it. And they do not want to let go of those type of views. And then the whole mind distorted from this one. Take for example, this simple one. Just take an example, the vaccine will do, Talk about the vaccine will do. People are so sometimes, sorry to say, I mean, there are certain people who have certain genuine that they cannot take. Well, we understandable. But there are totally people who are totally have wrong view about all these type of things. Not only this type of COVID vaccine, but nowadays this, what do you call that, the measles vaccine, the polio vaccine, even that they begin to have this type of understanding that all other vaccines will give you all kinds of problem. There one time, from 2000 that time, there's no measles and there's the polio also is gone, And when it comes to all this type of people who has a wrong view about this vaccine, especially on, not only talking about COVID, talking about polio and measles, and we have doing it for 50 over years, and we try to eradicate the thing, and we're quite successful. But then there are people who start talking about this anti-vaccine thing, and then the children start to have measles again. Some of the children start to have measles again, or polio again. Polio is a terrible thing. We're not talking about just COVID. Some says okay, the new COVID maybe just develop, okay, maybe, but there are other vaccines also, they totally rub it off. Anyway, there are certain other things when it comes to certain views that is totally shunned by the public, totally not able to accept by the public, or most people. I wouldn't say public, I think most people. And when they hold on to it, that is also very difficult to eradicate. Not eradicate, just to overcome it, not eradicate, just to overcome it also is difficult. So this is difficult. So anyway, let us come back to this one. So now, the Mettā, it is that when there is an anger in us, we need to overcome them. We need to allay that the anger. We need to not eradicate the anger, but hopefully we can able to reduce the anger and to let the anger subside. In the suttas, there are tons of the Buddha talk about anger, ill will, and so on. So within the talk, I don't think I can able to go through all of them. Not only just overcoming the anger, but also we must able to develop good, wholesome mind states, wholesome deeds or speech, and we develop those things for over a long period of time. Therefore, those wholesome things can able to overcome our anger and ill will, or to remove those habits slowly and slowly remove those habits. So, what did the commentaries and the sutta says about anger? So when you get angry, what can you do? So when you get angry, what can you do? This is not necessary just on the lay life, on everyday life, but also you can connect it with meditation too. So what is this one? Let me share the screen now. Where's my screen? Okay, this one. Can you all see? Okay. First one. Hopefully you all can do this. Entering into a Mettā jhana. If you cannot able to go inside this Mettā jhana, that means the first one is not useful for all of you. If you have this jhana, then this is going to be very easy, because the moment your mind comes up with any anger, then you go into jhana, and then all this anger all gone. If you can able to do that. So we are not going to go describe this a lot, because I'm going to talk about this Mettā jhana or jhana in another talk after this Mettā Bhāvanā thing, because it's going to be quite deep. You need to know a little bit of your background about how jhana enters and how it comes out and things like that, and then with understanding of the first jhana or second jhana or third jhana, how you can able to expand it to all other samatha meditation. That's going to be quite interesting also, but it's a lot of theory work. This one is more practical over here. That's why I try to keep the practical talks right now, during in the Mettā Bhāvanā. But when we finish the Mettā Bhāvanā, we're going to look into a bit more theory. So entering into the Mettā jhana. So if you have those Mettā jhana, then it's well and good. Now, if you do not have this Mettā jhana, then it will be good that you frequently have metta. That means you frequently have metta. When you are not angry, don't wait until you are angry. If you do not have anger, then just like when you do your daily activities, then as I said, that you frequently radiate metta. May I be well and happy. May all the beings around here be well and happy. While you are driving, for example, while you're in the park, while you're if you go for your walks or for your jog, while you are going into your office, while you are inside your office, while you are dining, having a lunch, having a dinner, and every now and then just throw in a little bit of metta into your mind or into your words, then you'll be good. And frequently when you do that, then this metta becomes strong in you. I wouldn't say able to go into jhana, but at least it's become a prominent part of your mind. So anytime when you meet with difficult situation, then the certain anger arises, then you just switch back to metta. That also, sometimes for some people, it can help to reduce the anger or subside the anger. Not only just reduce, but also subside the anger. So that will be also good. So if you cannot able to get the jhana, but do the metta frequently, not just in this metta bhavana, but also after that and the rest of your life. Then what else we can do? Number 2, this is called self-admonishing accordance to the Dhamma. Accordance to the Dhamma. This is, you can be connected with the suttas or abhidhamma or vinaya thing, for example. So let's take a simile of the saw. Majjhima Nikaya 21. Let's go there. Okay. Where is my... this is resentment. No. Okay. Wait. Too small for you. Hold on. I want to remove this thing with... okay. Hold on. Okay. Can you see now? Number 20. Here, number 20 here. Can you see? Because this is one of the thing. Because even if bandits were to sever you savagely limb by limb with two-handled saw, he who gave rise to a mind of hate towards them will not be carrying out my teaching. This is a very tall order, from the Buddha. Herein, because you should train thus, our mind will remain unaffected. We shall utter no evil words. We shall abide compassionate for their welfare, with a mind of loving kindness without inner hate. We shall abide pervading them with a mind imbued with loving kindness, and starting with them, we shall abide pervading all-encompassing world with a mind imbued with loving kindness, abundant, exalted, immeasurable, without hostility and without ill will. This is how you should train bhikkhus. Maybe you all start thinking, oh, luckily I'm not a bhikkhu. No, when they say bhikkhus, I included all of you also. No? But this is a difficult thing for most of us. But for us monks, then we try to do this as much as we can. But I wouldn't say it's going to be perfect. Sometimes you can see that at times the monks or the nuns also, they get very angry. Their anger is they blow their top. So this one sometimes when we understand this thing, and when we understand these things, then we remind ourselves, hey, the Buddha says, don't utter this type of speech, according to the simile of the saw. So whatever it is, one should not try to get angry and so on, as best as you can. Because if you keep this advice on the simile of the stock constantly in mind, do you see any cause of speech, trivial or gross, that you could not endure? No, venerable sir. Therefore, because you should keep this advice on the simile of the stock constantly in mind, that will lead to your welfare and happiness for a long time. So, it's not that easy. I can understand. It is not that easy. Yeah? So it is good that sometimes when we reflect on this type of sutta, then it will be good for us. And now, for example, there's another one called in the Dhammapada. Usually, then you reflect on the Dhammapada verse 5 or 6. Then hatred is not ceased by hatred. Only love, hatred is ceased. Actually, it's not the word love. Actually, when you translate from Pali, it's non-hatred. It's English word they just translate. The Pali word is actually non-hatred. Through non-hatred, it is ceased. But what do you mean by the non-hatred? So the non-hatred is mettā. Not just the love here is not just the everyday love for people and so on, and sometimes you see this make love and not war, those type of things, not that type of love, This is the mettā. This is more towards mettā, because if you have sensual desire for a person, that too, the anger and the ill will also carry together with it. The anger and ill will carries together with this one. That's why sometimes we can get quite angry with our loved ones, our dear people around us, our children, our parents, and so on. So because of the attachment, and get very angry, you also get angry with them. So this is something that, what it mean by this? This is for you to remember. For you to remember. What else? There's one more thing. This is quite a good sutta. This is called sutta. This is called simile of the saw. Wait, let me go up here. This is simile of the saw. It starts with this fella, this venerable Molya Paguna. This have a wrong thinking, Then when it comes to this one, it also shows that, just to give you the rough idea, that the Buddha, although once with mettā, does not mean that the Buddha cannot scold other people. Does not mean that the Buddha cannot admonish, and it can be very stern. Doesn't mean that the Buddha is always soft and nice and so on. No, according to the suttas and Vinaya and so on, then we can see that the Buddha can be the words can be quite strong. Where is it now? Where is it? This one. He used the word misguided man. Where is it? The Buddha used the word misguided man on this monk. Where is it? Where is it already? Hold on. Never mind. He used the word misguided man. It's more like sometimes foolish person. How could you think of all these type of things? So if you want to read more about it, it's quite interesting, this one. It tells you about not just only you have to remember, but also you have to know how to train yourself in speech also. For example, where is it? It tells you how to not number 10 here. Number 11. Because there are 5 causes of speech that others may use when they address you. Their speech may be timely or untimely, true or untrue, gentle or harsh, connected with good or with harm, spoken with mind of loving kindness of inner hate. So this is hold on. Hey, where did I go? Hey, this thing is blocking me. All your faces in this Zoom here. I'm gonna make. Okay. Now, when others address you, their speech may be timely or untimely. When others address you, their speech may be true or untrue. When others address you, their speech may be gentle or harsh. When others address you, their speech may be connected with good or with harm. And when others address you, their speech may be spoken with loving kindness of inner hate. Herein, bhikkhus, you should train thus. Our mind should remain unaffected. We shall utter no evil words. We shall abide compassionate for welfare. You see, again here, when we meet with people, that means when you go out there, when you meet with your bosses, when you meet with your other people, with your subordinates, you meet with all kinds of people, they say all kinds of things. So therefore, when we remember this type of sutta, when we review this type of sutta, then hopefully this type of suttas will go inside our heart. Because a lot of us is just reading through it. A lot of us just knowing these things, but when it comes to the actual situation, we are not engaged. We not engage our loving kindness. So therefore, one of these things is that you must have a lot abundant of patience. You must have a lot of abundance of patience, because there will be people going to speak whatever they are in their mind, and sometimes in their mind can be very ugly. Also, there's another one, is this. The Buddha also mentioned this. This is also interesting. Number 10 here. You see, I highlight this one? Yeah. So too bhikkhus. Some bhikkhu is extremely gentle, extremely meek, extremely peaceful, so long as disagreeable causes of speech do not touch him. But it is when disagreeable causes of speech touch him that it can be understood whether that bhikkhu is really kind, gentle, and peaceful. It would be interesting also, you see, because a lot of times we see the monk or a nun, they walk very nicely, talk very nicely, or sometimes they are also in the Buddhist societies or Buddhist association, and then they come in when we meet their brothers and sisters in the Dhamma. Oh, they are very, very kind, very, 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 very meek and so on. But when they go out there and do their business and all that thing, it's totally a different person altogether. Or sometimes we see the Buddhist leaders also the same thing. They talk about the loving kindness, they talk about Dhamma and so on. But when their own devotees talk certain ways or do certain things wrong, they get themselves very angry. That too I've seen, Looks good. They looks very kind. They looks very, clear. But then when their actual situation arises, then only you can really see whether they are really true to their this one or not. Okay. So this is one thing. So this is a lot we can talk about it. Even with the number 9 there earlier on, this is again is a simile. The maid here trying to provoke. You see, he tried to provoke the what do you call that? Its boss. You see, the lady is so kind and so gentle and peaceful, and then this maid tried to provoke him to show everybody that this boss is not really a good one. So it's quite interesting, but I don't have the time to go through all those things. All right, okay. Let's stop this sharing. Okay, now. Okay. There's a what else is there for us to overcome our little anger? All right. Number 3, self-admonishing through proper reflection. Now, one of the ways is that we understand other people's predicament in the sense that what the difficulties others are going through. For example, that he gets angry or she gets angry, and he lash it out on you. He pours it out everything on you. So by understanding that perhaps somebody just died, or perhaps he just lost his job, or his financial collapse, or you go into bankruptcy and so on, and then he very hurt inside, and then sometimes we so-called go near to the person, and then that person gets very angry, and when you understand it, oh, such a situation, and then when we understand it, then our anger is no more there. So too, sometimes when you have like older people around you and so on, they may have a lot of anger. They simply, scold, how come you don't come and see me? And then to you, it's just understanding it, that because their mind is in a certain state, and we don't have to get angry with it. So sometimes we just understand other people's this one, then perhaps it's quite okay to reduce our anger. Sometimes it can be out of compassion also, because the person is going through suffering, that we know that that person is going through suffering, then we wish that may he or she free from all this suffering that the person is going through. Then with that too, we reduce that anger. We reduce those anger. So that also we look into the last week also. Last week also we have another on Friday. Yeah, this is the one. Removing resentment. 5. One should develop loving kindness. One should develop compassion. One should develop equanimity. One should disregard the person, ignore the person, or we should apply the idea of ownership of karma. So this is last week we talked about it during the Q&A session. So this is one of the ways, and also I'm incorporating it into the tonight's talk also. What is going to talk about later on is about 162. 162. We'll come back on that. So here, when you reflect on a proper reflection, a wise reflection, then we don't have to get angry over it. We don't have to get angry over another person. So that also we reduce our anger, or the anger subside. Sometimes we get angry with somebody, and then when later on we know that what is going behind the situation, behind the scene, then a lot of times when we understand it, the whole anger just disappear. Okay, so this is one of the things that we can do. Number 4, remembering the good deeds that he has done through body, speech, or mind. Body, speech, or mind. Now this one, again here, I'm going to go back again. Sorry for tonight. We go to and fro like that. This one, okay. I'm going to go here. 162. Okay. There, the Venerable Sariputta addressed the bhikkhu. Friends, bhikkhus. Friend, those bhikkhus replied, the Venerable Sariputta said this. Okay, let me go a little bit bigger. Sorry. Okay. Friends, there are 5 ways of removing resentment by which bhikkhus should entirely remove the resentment. Okay, what 5? Here, a person's bodily behavior is impure, but his verbal behavior is pure. One should remove resentment towards such person. A person's verbal behavior is impure, but bodily behavior is pure. 3. Bodily behavior and verbal behavior are impure, but from time to time, he gains an opening of the mind, placidity of mind. That means he can able to go into enlightenment or jhana. Okay, number 4. A person's bodily behavior and verbal behavior are impure, and he does not gain an opening. That means he got no jhana, his mind is not ripe, and then one should also remove resentment towards such person. Okay, a 5, which is a bodily behavior and verbal behavior are pure. From time to time he gains opening. This one you should remove the easiest, I would say. You know? Now, how should resentment remove towards a person whose bodily behavior is impure but verbal behavior is pure? Supposing a rope bhikkhu sees a rag by the roadside, he will press it down with his left foot, spread it out with his left foot, tear off an intact section and take away with him. So too when when a person's bodily behavior is impure, but his verbal behavior is pure, on that occasion, one should not attend to the impurity of his bodily behavior, but should instead attend to the purity of his verbal behavior. In this way, resentment towards that person should be removed. Okay. So here what it means. Here what it means here. What it means over here is that when you see a person, you must not see the whole person as a person in that sense. Because most of the time for us, when we look at the person and when somebody do something wrong here, we already condemn him, we already get angry about him, but we forget that he has done a lot of good deeds also. We don't see those good deeds about the person. Say for example, he gave let's say he gave Dhamma talks, for example. He gave Dhamma talks. He preached to others to keep the 5 precepts, to do this and to do that, And then he himself, on a certain occasion, he may have, say for example, drink. And then you saw him drink, and then you get angry. You get angry. Then immediately you say that the person, you think that the person is not true. He says one thing, but he does another thing. It says that the person is not straight. No, actually, it's not. You should not look into it like that now. Sometimes when a lot of us, when it says, hey, you keep your 5 precepts, you don't get angry and so on, but you yourself gets angry at certain time. Does it make you a person who is actually really bad? Actually, it's no. You are just not able to keep up with the Dhamma only. Some people said this. Now, if you say this in another way, for example, I don't drink, but you tell people I don't drink, but behind that you drink. That is a different story already, Totally a different story. That is lying already, Whereas, for example, when we give a Dhamma talk, or some lay people give a Dhamma talk, then they praise that the 3rd precept of the 8th precept. The 3rd precept is a sexual not sexual misconduct. You give up all forms of sexuality at certain period of time. Now, when he speaks that, does not mean that the person cannot have engaged with his wife. What I'm saying is that he can praise the thing is good, But he's not keeping the 8 precepts yet at that moment of time. But he can praise that thing is good. So what I'm trying to say is that when we look at the person, we have to learn to look at it more separately. If not, our mind begins to narrow down on a very small thing. When we see a monk doing something bad, don't just narrow it down now. This must be bad. Everything about him is already bad. But he has done a lot of good deeds. He have helped a lot of people. He have speak a lot of good words. But at certain times he falls. And then for most people, we're going to look at that thing and we condemn him to the worst that we can. That how we get angry. So here what it means that when we learn to look at the person on his deeds, on his goodness that he has done. Therefore, when he has done something good in the past, we remember his good deeds that he has done in the past. Then we rejoice in that good deeds. Then it overcomes our anger. Then it overcomes that small-mindedness of ours. Because most people out there is quite small-minded. You do a little bit wrong, they're going to condemn you to the worst. Perhaps some of us have gone through it. We understand. And all your good deeds and all the good words that you have done, even your mind that is able to go into jhana and so on, people don't care already. People don't care. It's just they see your small little thing. So what I'm trying to say is that make sure you are not in that particular shoe, not in that particular way of mindset. If you are in that mindset, it's so easy for you to get angry. You see something wrong about somebody, you condemn already. So don't fall into that type of mindset. It's really bad actually. Okay? So that is what I'm trying to say here. So if it's a good in the speech, then you praise the speech. If it's good in the action, you praise the action. If it's good in the mental development, then you praise the mental development. Sometimes his mental development is wonderful, but his speech may not be so good. Sometimes, for example, there are monks or nuns who can able to develop into jhana and enlightenment, but when they came to give a Dhamma talk, they are tongue-tied, they cannot able to speak. And they are like that. And people condemn them because, this monk cannot talk, this monk cannot give a speech. But they forget that that monk could be enlightened or that nun can be enlightened. So we're remembering the good deeds that he or she has done through body, speech, or mind. So in that sense. Number 5, reflecting on one's own as karma as one's owner. We are the owner of our own karma. Here again, we already talked about it on last Friday, that when we reflect on owners of own karma, is that this is one way is to reflect about our karma and vipaka, the cause and action. Here the cause and action, it says that when we get angry, you remember that there are consequences. The consequences is that not only not socially acceptable, people, it's not that, it's the afterlife after that. It's the after this life and you rebirth and so on, then this anger can give rise to a lot of problem. To a lot of problem in the sense that it can bring you directly to woeful states. Whereas sensual desire, not necessarily it goes to woeful states, not necessary yet, not yet. Because if you fall within the precepts, if your sensual desire falls within the precepts, then okay, you're not go into hell or whatever. But it will just keep you in samsara only. And because you are in samsara, then you will do all kinds of unwholesome deeds. Then again, you will fall into the woeful states. So unless it's a very strong sensual desire, then yes, it will directly take you to this one. But the general sensual desire, it will keep you in samsara. But it will not this one. But anger, ill will, yes. Anger, ill will, it can directly take you into woeful states. So that can be quite a problem. So we reflect on the owners of own karma. He gets angry, that will be his own karma and vipaka. That will be vipaka. If I get angry, that will be my own karma and vipaka. No matter what the situation is. Some people think that sometimes your anger is caused by another person. No. Another person makes you angry. You are the one who get angry. You are the one who's going to bear up the karma and its vipaka. So this is one way. Yeah. This one is very helpful. Is one of the 4 Brahma Viharas. So the Brahma Vihara of equanimity, when certain situation you have to be mentally have to be stable. Equanimity. Now, certain times we cannot exercise metta all the time. We cannot exercise metta all the time because if you exercise metta all the time, there are people out there who are terrible people will overstep on you, will step on you. Now, we will look down on you because they look down on you are being too soft and too this one. So at certain times, you must have equanimity. That means you can able to give instruction to your subordinates and to your colleagues in certain things, that you have to give them clear instruction. And when they overstep and they didn't do all these things, you have to admonish them. But when you have to do it, you do it with equanimity and understanding. If you do it with anger, then that anger will be, you will bear up the consequences. But those are very hard to do. But a lot of things but this we can train up actually. It takes time. Okay. Number 6, reviewing the Buddha's former lives. This is in the Jataka stories, and you need to read the Jataka stories. And this Jataka stories is quite interesting. It's quite interesting in the sense that there are many things. It's impossible for us right now to understand how the bird can talk how the monkey can talk. That one you don't look into it so much. Because if you look into it so much, you don't want to open up the Jataka tales and the Jataka stories. The Jataka stories are a lot to do with also with the Buddha's past life. With the Buddha's past life. For example, when we're reviewing some of the Buddha's past life, one of it is the patience that this terrible king at one of the bodhisattvas, when he was a Buddha, when he's a bodhisattva, one of these terrible kings says that, what do you preach? Ascetic. What do you preach? Holy man. Oh, I preach patience. Oh, so you preach patience, is it? Okay, let's cut off your nose. Still preach patience? Yes, I still preach patience. Then after that, he cuts off the ears of the bodhisattva. Then the king still asks this one, do you preach patience? Yes, I preach patience. Then cut off the arms and cut off the limbs and cut off the legs. Still preach patience? Yes, I still preach patience. Yeah. If somebody cut off a little bit of your hair, you already get angry already. Don't any cut off anything at all. You go to your hairdresser, you make a little mistake only. You want it a bit longer but shorter, and then you also get angry. A little bit of your hair also. Some of you also right now, because of the lockdown, especially the ladies' hair all grow so long. Aiyo, because they're afraid to go into their hairdressing, whichever it is. Anyway, this is something for you to remember. The Jataka story. For example, there are other Jataka stories that the Buddha was reborn as a royal naga. A royal naga here is like a snake. It's a snake as a serpent. Now, reborn is a serpent, but when some there are some village boys, so happened they hunted it down and they managed to catch that snake, Although it's a deva in that sense, but it transformed itself into like a serpent, like a snake. So therefore, the village people could able to catch it. But when the village people or village boys caught it, they torture it. They do all kinds of terrible things to it. They poke all kinds of needles and everything onto the body, and the Bodhisattva keep his calm, keep his peace. And then it says that the royal Naga, if you want just a blink of an eye, this whole village could disappear and everybody will die. Just a blink of an eye. But he kept his patience, something like that. So when he did that, then for us as disciples, then we remember how much the Buddha has to endure those difficulty. So if we could able to endure a little bit of this difficulty through remembering all these Jataka tales, then it help us to reduce our anger. Then well and good. What else? Reviewing the 11 benefits of Mettā. Now this one also is good because on what day is this? On Monday that I talk about it. Then we talk about he sleeps well, he wakes up happily, he have no bad dreams and so on. So these are the things which is good for some people. Number 8, resolution into the elements. Here again, resolution into the elements. That means we learn to separate the person into various parts. For example, head, hair, body hair, nail, teeth, skin. Then this is normally the 32 parts of the body, and normally we use those 32 parts of the body to overcome sensual desire, sensual lust. But in the Mettā, in the sense of Mettā, we just go through a reflection of them. We separate the person that you are angry with into these 32 parts. Then you ask yourself, am I angry with the head hair? Or am I angry with the body hair? Or head hair, body hair? Am I angry with the nails? Am I nail, teeth? Am I angry with the teeth? Am I angry with the skin? Head hair, body hair, nail, teeth, skin. So when you reflect on these things, then when you separate and not look at the person, as a component, then there's no anger. The anger subsides. And I did that before in the past, I did this before. When I get annoyed with some people, I reflect on this. Do I really don't like the hair? Or the body hair? Or the nail, teeth, skin? And so on, Whether it's it goes on to the feces, the urine, the stomach, the this and that. So you just open it up and reflect. And it's very useful, actually. Actually, it's very useful. Now, number 1 to all this, number 9, later we talk about the gift. Some of it is helpful to you. Some of it may not be helpful to you. Some of it may be helpful for you in the past, but it may not be helpful for you right now. And some of it, although it may not be helpful right now, it may be helpful for you in the future. Okay? And again, here, it also depends on your character. If you're more faith character, sometimes maybe number 6 will be quite interesting for you. Yeah? If you're more of a Dhamma thinking type of character, maybe number 5 also will be good for you. Maybe number 3 also will be good for you. So this one, it can be quite different for different people. Yeah? Give a gift, number 9. Give a gift here. It is also in a way that we can able to reduce our anger. When we reduce this anger, when you get angry with somebody, that is where our mind is very close. And sometimes we do it. We do it by giving a small gift. Now, here I did it before, even before when I was a monk, when I was meditating, and somebody was behind me was meditating so loud, I one time I was thinking like a turkey meditating, the turkey, there's some kind of sound keep on coming out from the yogi. So I get very annoyed now. After a while, I remember this thing, then I gave a gift. Then once I gave a gift, then completely my anger gone. I do not know how, I do not know why, but just because I remember this particular sutta, I gave a gift. Then my anger gone. Then after that, whatever sound she make, I can meditate perfectly. So this is some of the things. So hopefully, to break down that barrier, to break down this barrier of this metta, we try to reduce our anger as much as we can. Once we reduce this anger, then later part when we develop this metta, we try to incorporate the person that you hated the most, and whether you can able to bring out that metta, which is the same type of, the same intensity as compared to the one that you respected, or to all beings. And then your metta in a way quite successful. So another step forward is to develop it right until jhana. Okay? So that's it for tonight. So on Friday, we have a Q&A again. We have a Q&A. And then again, those who wants to ask questions, this one is still we're still in Mettā Bhāvanā, and those participants and ex-participants of this Mettā Bhāvanā, and you are free to ask your questions connected to the Metta first, or the Dhamma talks and so on. Okay, that's it for tonight.